Hello, this is Jerry from Quilt Crazy. A question came up on the We Love Cubot Facebook forum about designs across the quilt top without stitching over the sashing. This, of course, can be accomplished using pattern quilting within our boundaries. What if you wanted to do different designs in blocks with sashing between them, or different non-chainable patterns at the same time? In pattern quilting, you would need to mark each block individually, then start over again with the next block. Now, I am not part of Lighten Up Technologies or Cubot Pro, so if you have any questions or comments about this presentation, please send them to me, not at the fine folks at Cubot. If you haven't already watched the video from Lighten Up Technologies introducing V3 Pro on YouTube, you should watch it. The portion about the designer function is at the end of the video, and it goes through a great example of doing multiple rows in a single design. Now, the advantage of the designer function is that you have the ability to set up as many different chainable or non-chainable designs as you wish. There is likely some limit to them, but I haven't found what that limit is. I've done over 10 different designs, with some of them being fairly complex, without any issues. Now, I do shut down my tablet about every hour to 2 hours and then start it back up again to clear out memory. And I generally stitch about 6 to 7 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. With Designer, you have the ability to combine multiple designs, link them together, and then save them as a new design that you can then use in either Designer or pattern quilting, as if they were an original single design. It's a handy function for grouping designs together as a single piece that you're going to reuse over and over again. For this demo, I'm going to do 3 different designs in 3 different shaped blocks. The designs that I picked are very, very basic designs to make it go faster. So let's get started. We're going to select Designer. We're going to design on the quilt. Turn on my laser. If you don't have a laser, you need to get one. They are great. And we'll start marking out this design. Now, if your design is going to touch the perimeter of your block or the perimeter of your quilt, then you want to make sure you get really, really accurate. If you're just putting the design within a block and you're going to have a bit of room above it, accuracy isn't as important, especially on things like circles where there are a lot of changes. In this case, the design I'm going to put in here isn't going to touch the outer perimeter or even come really close to it, so I just need to get a general idea where it's at. And we'll go over here and we'll select done. Now, you notice there's some extraneous lines on the screen. These lines do not affect quilting at all. It's just the connector between them so that we can do them. So just disregard the fact that they're there. They won't hurt anything. So let's pick the designs. And there is an important part about picking designs in order. Cubot will quilt out the designs in the order that you select them. So if you select the first one, then the third one, then the second one, that's the order it's going to design it in. So after it finishes the first design, it's going to move down to the third design, do that, and then move back to the second. It doesn't hurt anything. It's just a little unusual when you watch it, is all. If you pick them out 1, 2, 3 the way that they're doing, that's the way it will design them. I'm going to intentionally do them out of order so you can see what happens. So we're going to select the hex, and then I'm going to select the heart. That's going to go inside the circle. Then we'll do the diamond. So I've got the 3 that I want. Select done, and I'll move the hex to where we're going to get it. Select the little blue arrow at the bottom to bring up the selection tool for what item I'm going to do next, and I'll select the heart. Put it down, move it to where I'm at, and change the size. Now the heart here I'm going to do at about 3 inches. Oops. Give it a spot here. Select the diamond, and we're going to rotate this around. We're going to make Mr. Diamond here also 3 inches. Oops, no, we're not going to make him 3 inches. We're going to make him 2 inches. And let's select the hex. Now you notice that I made the diamond 82%. When I select the hex, it's still going to say 82% from the previous one. But when I select the button for either the X or the Y scale, you can see that it changes up to the appropriate size. So it will always display the last block that you, or the last design that you had on the main screen. All right, so we got the 3. We'll scroll up so that we can stitch. Now, you'll notice that below the reverse path button, there's a checkbox there for jump to stitch the inner boundary. Designer does not have inner boundaries, so disregard this checkbox. The outer boundary does work just like it does in Designer. We don't have any issues with outer boundaries, so I'm going to select done, and I'm not going to do any trims. There are no trims inside Designer as well. And it takes us to our link window. There are 3 different kinds of links: the automatic snap, the curved, and a straight line. The curved allows you to create a curved line, and you can have some control over how that curve appears or works. It's pretty limited, but it does have some control. The automatic snap, which I don't use and haven't really found much use for it thus far, and a straight line. Now these links will draw a stitch line from the last point of one design to the first point of the next, and then from the last to the next one, and so forth and so on. In this particular case, since we did design 1, then design 3, then design 2, it would draw a line from the top of the hex to the bottom of the heart and go right over the top of the diamond. And then we're going to go from the bottom of the diamond to, the bottom of the heart to the diamond. It would not help our design at all. So we're going to use a jump stitch, which just means you don't select any linking at all. So we'll say quilt now. Of course, we could save this design. If we did, it would create a new design that had these 3 proportionally the way you see them on the screen, that you could bring back into either Designer or pattern quilting, and then resize and rotate them. You just can't individually resize 1 or 2 of the 3. You have to do the entire one at once. So let's go ahead, and you'll notice that on a screen the hex is blue, the other 2 are black. That's the item that's going to be stitched is going to be the one that's in blue. So we'll move to start. I'm going to go to the hex, and I'm going to speed the machine up to 200% so that we can get through this as quickly as we can. So I'll pause, hit our little rabbit here so we get to 200. 200, and continue. So it's going to go ahead and stitch out that hex. Once it's finished the hex, it's going to take us over to the heart, because that's the order that we selected it in. So that kind of shows how important it is to predetermine what order you want to select these in. So we do a tie off, and we're going to select continue. The head will move to the next design, or you could manually move it. It's ready to do the heart, and we would bring up the bobbin thread, stitch out the heart, so try to pick pretty simple designs so they would design pretty quickly. And we would tie off that stitch and select continue. It'll move to the third design, in order of selection, and let's look, go, and it will stitch out the diamond. So as you can see, Designer is very powerful, very simple to use, and a great addition to version v3. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please leave me a note or give me a buzz. I'd be happy to answer them. And thanks, and happy quilting!